Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Baseball is in ship shape, so let's cast off. Ahoy there, mate. An Oakland destroyer cruises along peacefully in coastal waters after setting down anchor in the Bay Area. All hands on deck. The Cardinals keep watch, sinking Chicago under a full head of steam to sail a fleet course. Full speed ahead. The Red Sox launch their assault, torpedoing Toronto with a strong current, staying on top of a tidal wave. Land ho! An alert sounded by the Expos, who capsized New York to navigate their way to the top. And we're at the helm, so hop aboard, y'all, for This Week in Baseball. American League show. In Boston, the Red Sox get Rays. The Red Hot Sox have been burning up the East, and when the first place Toronto Blue Jays came to town, Boston didn't cool off one bit. Dennis Oil Can Boyd followed a Sox win in Game 1 with a dynamite display the next day, as only the can. Boyd gave up just one run and picked up win number 8, as the Sox rolled to their 11th win in 12 games. It was complete game number 9 for the Can Man, most in the league.
I love a complete ball game. I'm a 9-inning pitcher. Hey, if you want anybody out there, put me out there in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and I can end the ball game. When the game is in a good, fast tempo, I tend to get into the game, start to wind it up faster. I can't find the release point, so what I do is go back there and tell myself, Can, slow down. The game is in your hands. One pitch at a time, one hitter at a time. Come on, let's go.
The Sox did just that in Game 3, winning 7-5 and maintaining a team batting average near 280, tops in the league. Glenn Hoffman hadn't been doing much socking, but in the finale, he delivered in the clutch with a 2-run 8th-inning single as the Sox came from behind to tie the game at 6-all. Boston then loaded the bases before manager John McNamara pointed to yet another hero in Dwight Evans. A sacrifice fly for the game-winning RBI. The Jays were blue all right, suffering their 7th loss in 10 games. Steve Crawford got the win. The Red Sox were 10 games out of first and struggling in 6th place back on May 26th, but then won 17 out of 19, including the 4-game sweep of the Jays to soar into a tie for second. And their run wasn't done. Next night, Dwight Evans beat Detroit with a game-winning homer in the 9th, briefly giving Boston sole possession of 2nd place, hot on the tail of the Jays. Man alive, the Sox were sizzling. Next stop, Baltimore, where the O's enjoyed an early bird special. Baltimore put out the welcome mat for returning skipper Earl Weaver, who managed the Birds for more than 14 years before resigning after the '82 season. Earl missed an Oriole win in Game 1 against Milwaukee, but saw Jim Dwyer drive in 4 runs at Weaver's homecoming in Game 2, as Baltimore made it 2 straight wins after 5 straight losses. Weaver's return brought nearly 40,000 to Memorial Stadium, and Storm Davis brought down the house in a 9-3 romp. After a shaky start, Davis stormed ahead for his 4th win, and Baltimore took the next 2 games to sweep the Brewers. But the Orioles couldn't bear the sight of their next foes, the pumped-up New York Yankees. Rickey Henderson reached base 10 consecutive times, including 8 straight hits against the O's. And he raised his stolen base total to 25 and his batting average to a league-leading .340. Another unwelcome sight for Oriole fans was Ron Guidry, who threw a 5-hit shutout that improved his record to 7-3 as New York swept a 3-game series from the Birds and promptly put an end to the Earl of Baltimore's brief honeymoon. Now on to Anaheim and a back-and-forth battle for best in the West. The Angels were just a half game behind Chicago when the first-place White Sox strutted into town. And in Game 1, Reggie Jackson, with a score tied and 2 out in the bottom of the 9th, came through. Jackson's game-winning hit put California back in the division lead. Next night, it was Chicago's turn to stomp, as Tom Seaver kept California's team batting average near .230, lowest in the league. Seaver got career win number 295, raising his record to 7-4, and the Sox jumped back into first. In Game 3, California's plans were ruined by Rudy Law, who got 3 hits to go 10 for 21 over a 7-game stretch as the Sox took it 3-2. Bob James picked up save number 16 to lead the league. And with that kind of relief, Chicago has high hopes for a banner season. But high hopes belong to Angel fans in Game 4, as rookie Urbano Lugo earned his first Major League win with 9 strikeouts in 8 innings. Reggie Jackson hammered home run number 511, and 2 days later hit number 512 to tie for 10th place all time. After Reggie's game-winning blast, the rest was Angel food cake. Donnie Moore wrapped up save number 14, and the Angels won it 3-1, splitting the series to end up right back where they started, trailing the Sox by a half game. Now, let's open the notebook for This Week in Baseball's TWIB notes from around the American League. Cleveland's Bert Blyleven reached 2 milestones, beating Oakland for career win number 200, and next time out, defeating California 2-0 for career shutout number 50.
The guys scored runs for me early. They played great defense behind me, and, everything turned out good. I'm very happy I got number 200.
You earned it, Bert. Nice going. For Seattle infielders, business was especially brisk in a game against Kansas City, as they tied a Major League record with 21 assists. Last team to do it, the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1935. The Mariners won the game on, well, what else? An infield hit. Bruce Tanner gave the White Sox a big lift in his Major League debut, going 6 2/3 innings against Seattle to get the win and continue a big league family tradition. It was started by his dad, Pirate skipper Chuck Tanner, who also had a dazzling Major League debut. With Milwaukee in 1955, Chuck hit a pinch hit homer on the very first pitch he faced, one of only 6 players ever to homer on their first big league pitch, and one of 24 to do it on their first at bat. Detroit's Jack Morris tossed career strikeout number 1,000 in a win at Yankee Stadium. It was the 115th victory of his career, and the 94th since 1980, more than any other major leaguer in the 80s. Now, for this week's quiz, can you name the winningest big league pitcher in each of the last 3 decades? Stay tuned for Trio Grande. National League picture. Montreal moves to the top of the East. Olympic Stadium was basking in the glow of the fired-up Expos, who exploded against former Expo Gary Carter and his New York Mets mates. In Game 1, the sweet sound of victory came in the bottom of the 9th when Dan Dreesen stepped up with 2 out and the score tied. Dreesen's 3rd RBI of the game put Montreal on top 5-4 and sent the Mets to their 8th loss in 10 games. Next night, Montreal again got a kick out of their hitting Down 2-0 when Vance Law came up in the fourth and laid down the law, cutting the lead in half with a home run. The Expos later tied the game, and in the bottom of the ninth with a man on, Hubie Brooks had a chance to beat his former team. That did it. A 3-2 win as Montreal handed the Mets their seventh straight one-run loss, serving notice that the Expos are in the race to stay.
I think this ball club starting off was kind of hesitant, and then I think we found out we could win, and so I think this has given the ball club just an overall sense of confidence.
I think everyone enjoys playing with each other. Everyone gets a chance to play, and the atmosphere is I think, the type of atmosphere it should be amongst the ball club.
In Game 3, Andre Dawson was in the stratosphere, going 3 for 4, including home run number 9 and RBI number 35, both tops on the team. Mickey Mailer was on the mark, pitching 4 innings of one-run ball as Montreal swept the Mets for a 5-game winning streak to take over first place in the East. Next stop, Chicago, where St. Louis knocked the wind out of the Cubs. Everyone's keeping a close watch on the climbing Cardinals, who swept 3 games from the Cubs for a perch near the top of the East. In Game 1, Joaquin Andujar survived a slugfest to become the first 12-game winner in the majors, and he had just 2 losses. Andy Van Slyke isn't the power-hungry sort, but against the Cubs, he hit a 3-run homer as the Cards went wild at Wrigley with 11 runs on 15 hits. The Cubs tried to limber up for a rally with 2 runs in the ninth, but fell short when Van Slyke again came to the rescue, but this time in the field, as the Cards won it 11-10. Next day, the Cubs hoped to step into the winning picture, but instead ran their losing streak to 4 games. Danny Cox has been a picture of success, and against Chicago threw a 4-hit shutout for win number 8 and complete game number 5 as St. Louis won 2-0. Chicago also reeled from Cardinal offense. Here's Jack Clark connecting for home run number 14, hitting near 300. Overall, the Cards boasted a league-leading .270 team batting average. Helping to complete the sweep, Redbird Roadrunner Willie McGee sparked a 5-2 win in the finale with 2 RBIs, giving him 22 in 23 games. Kurt Kepshire got the win to knock Chicago out of first, and the Cubs then went on to lose 3 straight games to the Mets. As for the Cards, they won 8 out of 10 on the road to challenge for the division lead. Now, let's review this week in baseball's TWIB notes from around the National League. The Dodgers' Pedro Guerrero was a true blue home run hero. Just 4 homers in all of April and May, but then in 4 games he blasted 5 home runs, 4 in a 3-game sweep of Houston, and over 12 games, 9 home runs and 17 RBIs. Yes, indeed, Guerrero's on the go-go. Philadelphia's Glenn Wilson is also going strong. 12 RBIs in 6 games, including 3 straight games in which he drove home 3 runs. What's more, Wilson has played in every game this season and was 3rd in the league with 48 RBIs, more than he had all of last year. Hey, what's this, a costume party? Well, not quite, but it looked like one when umpires improvised their uniforms in a game at Candlestick Park between the Giants and Padres. Gag, the umpires made it to San Francisco, but their luggage didn't. Ha! 3-time Cy Young Award winner Jim Palmer won 186 games for the Baltimore Orioles during the 1970s, making him the winningest big league pitcher of that decade. Hall of Famer Juan Marichal is the man of the 1960s, winning 191 games for the San Francisco Giants. And fellow Hall of Famer Warren Spahn of the Braves was the winningest pitcher of the 50s with 202 victories. Hey, fans, here's one way to earn some respect. Show them your best stuff, because it's time for a game of to heave and heave not. So heave ho! Catch this, the kind of throw that can turn a skipper's hair white. But you ain't seen nothing yet, because sometimes simple throws and simple catches can seem simply impossible. So look out. Such a fine line between misplays and great plays. A throw in the wrong can become a catch in the right. So let's move from mistakes to magnificence, starting with Cleveland's Pat Tabler. New York Met Rafael Santana. 3 to get 1. Houston's Joe Niekro to Bill Doran to Enos Cabell. Seattle Mariner Jim Presley. Greg Nettles, San Diego. Bill Buckner, Boston Red Sox. New York Yankee Willie Randolph. The White Sox Julio Cruz. On the rebound, a barehander by Wade Boggs, Red Sox. Tommy Herr, St. Louis. Another Cardinal, Terry Pendleton. Rance Mulliniks, Toronto. Encore by Julio Cruz, White Sox. Detroit's Chet Lemon. Oakland's Dave Collins. Pittsburgh's George Hendrick. And Yankee Rickey Henderson, over and out. And now, a look at Oakland's King of Swing at work and at play. Dave Kingman is known for princely power. 35 home runs and 118 RBIs made him comeback player of the year in '84. And Kong is keeping it up this year. 16 homers and 44 RBIs to help the A's challenge in the American League West. For Oakland's designated hitter, being back in the Bay Area has brought about a big change. The still reclusive Kingman has finally found peace in his life, and when boating on the waters of the East Bay, he's able to leave behind the constant demands of the game.
The essence of boating to me is that nothing is more peaceful and relaxful as far as taking my mind off of baseball, because trying to go out and hit a baseball is sometimes pretty tough, and it makes my job go easier when I'm able to get away from the game.
Kingman's been in the game for 15 seasons with 7 teams, and he holds fond memories of his very first.
Coming up with the San Francisco Giants, I have many, many memorable moments. Probably the most is just breaking into the big leagues with guys like Mays, McCovey, and Marichal. The experience that I gained from playing with the greats and that put on the San Francisco Giants uniform is something I'll never forget. In fact, just playing now in Oakland, just across the bay, it's fun to sit in this boat, for example, and just think back of my career and how it all started back in Candlestick.
In 3 seasons with the Giants, Kong cracked 77 homers. He became a Met in 1975 and produced even more prodigiously. But Dave never felt at home in New York.
The years I played in New York was very, very pressure-packed. You have such media attention that it's something that's difficult for me to deal with, and it's something that's I've had trouble dealing with my entire career. Oakland and San Francisco has some great fans of its own, and to be here and enjoy that is great.
From the University of Southern California, Dave Kingman.
What do the judges have?
6.5.
At 36, Kingman's Paradise Lost has again been found.
I'm back home in Oakland, back home in California, and having a home that floats is fantastic, and I can't ask for anything nicer.
This week, Old Spice salutes Darrell Evans of the Detroit Tigers. In a win over New York, Evans went 5 for 5, including a home run, drove in 3 runs, and scored 3 times. Evans has been on a tear for more than a month, cracking 10 of his 12 home runs and batting .350 since May 15th. Topping it all off, on his last hit of the game against the Yankees, 38-year-old Evans collected career RBI number 1,000. Congratulations, Darrell. That's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.